My dad was an incredible person, someone I admired and continue to admire every single day. I admire him more every single day. I appreciate him more every single day. Although he's passed on, he guides me. He's part of every fiber, every cell of my body, every thought process. Now, that's not to say we didn't argue with each other. We had quite a volatile relationship because we were so similar. And I have simply infinite admiration for my dad. Well, I literally feel that from before I could understand and comprehend words, social justice, equality, dignity for every living being was instilled in me, ingrained in me. I simply grew up in that environment. And my family, particularly my father and his brother Jock, devoted their lives to fighting for human justice, resisting apartheid in South Africa, and walked their talk. My dad was an idealist. He was the consummate idealist. He literally, he had an ideal of life. He saw the world through his prism of human equality, and that is what he walked and talked every single day of his life. I feel I fall way short of my dad, but I try. Becoming a father was absolutely the most monumental moment in my life. There's no doubt about it.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. There's nothing that comes close to it in my life. And to say that it's always, you know, that people say that it's this dream and the moment, it's magic and the magic will descend the moment this little being comes into the world. And I'm not going to lie, there were moments at 3 a.m. as I sat there sleep deprived and tried to rock this little crying baby to sleep. There were moments I thought, where is the magic exactly? But absolutely the magic is here. This is the magic, and it simply comes upon you. And those moments of difficulty fade very quickly, and you start appreciating every moment, and every phase has its own magic. It is magic. It's incredible, as today is magic. So fatherhood, absolutely. Not to say that everyone has to have kids, and certainly some people, and I respect those people that decide, you know, this is not for us. But if it is for you, it simply fills your life and fulfills your life in a way that I never could have even imagined.
Yeah, I mean, we've always had a really great relationship, I think. Also, really now is really a pivotal moment in that relationship, just because I've kind of gone away to college for a while, and there's kind of been a paradigm shift in how our relationship behaves. But within that, I think the really strong connection and openness we have to each other is still preserved. So I think the core of our relationship is still there, even though some changes that life has brought those changes to us.
How did I manage it going to college? Not well. I'm still trying to manage it. Well, to tell you the truth, Adele managed far better than I did, certainly initially. She prepared for it psychologically in every way. I didn't give it a second thought. I thought, oh, he's going away a little way, he'll be in college and he'll come back and he's still at home. And suddenly the day he left, or we dropped him off and we drove home, and fear, dread filled my body as I thought, oh my gosh, he's left home. He's left home. I looked at Adele and I said, it's just the two of us and Shiloh, our dog. And Elan's actually left home. He'll come home to visit us, and of course, he's always part of the family, but we have entered a different phase in our lives. And actually, I joke about it, but it actually was very difficult for me for, I would say, the first month, because you start looking at your own mortality and my dad and that same difference where I was going to the army, and then I went to college, and and just thinking of how my dad felt and our relationship, and I went through a lot, but slowly I adapted to it, and as I saw Elan becoming his own person and enjoying college and working so hard, he's studying aerospace engineering, not an easy career choice, and doing so well, working so hard, but having fun and making friends and having stories to tell us, and incredible. I love it. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, so I think really the biggest change is the value I think me and my mom and dad have put on the time we spend together, just because it became so much more limited. When I was living at home, I mean, I'd see them every day. I was living with these people. I'd see them every time I'd sit down for dinner, breakfast, lunch. I'd see my dad when he came home from work. I'd see them on the weekends. I'd see them all the time. I could talk to them any time in the day that I really wanted to, unless they were busy. But when I went to college, it was suddenly, I can always call them, but my life has really changed. I'm going to these classes, I'm meeting new people, and I don't get to see them in person every day like I usually did. So when there's a chance that they do get to come down, when I do get to talk to them, I found myself placing a lot more value on that time that I get to spend with them, just because it's more limited.
And Rael?
I think it's incredible seeing your son, in this case our son, blossom into an adult, and the relationship changes. I feel it's become, as I say, I've enjoyed every phase. I mean, the ones, the twos, the threes, the cuteness, the stories, the giggles, the chasing each other. Every phase has its time. What I'm loving about this time is that we can have debates. We don't always agree with each other, and definitely I didn't always agree with my dad. Even though we were so close, when I look at it now, we were so close in how we saw life. And maybe that was it. We needed to argue, we needed to debate, we needed to intellectualize things and be passionate. And Elan and I now are having those same debates and those same discussions, and I can see how Elan gets so moved and passionate, and so do I. And, that's part of the environment that I grew up in. Every Friday night dinner, the family would sit down, and it was inevitable that a political argument would break out. And even though we were all on the same side, the same part of the spectrum, it was inevitable. And I love it. I love the fact that Elan and I can now discuss, argue, debate. That is part of the fabric of how I grew up, passed it on to Elan, my parents to me, their parents to them. It's a wonderful thing to we always gave Elan the feeling that he has a voice, that we hear him, we listen to him. His advice, his opinions are so important.
He through example, he's taught me a lot of things, but I think the most important thing that he's really taught me is, again, mostly through example, I think, is determination, and what determination can bring you, how it can make your life better, really establishing a goal, sticking to it, and having the discipline to follow that through, and reaping the rewards from it. And I mean, his determination is the reason, that he's brought in so many people together. It's made my life great. He's provided for me, my mom, and he's made this wonderful life for so many people through his determination. And I think the fruits of it, showing me that you can gain such great fruits from your labor is really the best lesson he's shown me. Really, I think he mentioned before having a strong mind, having an opinion, being able to debate. I think that was a huge gift that my family environment really gave me, that he obviously played a big part of. Being able to have confidence in your own beliefs, seeking out other opinions, discussion, things like that are really valuable things that, especially now that I'm in college and on my own, I find them immensely valuable every single day.
Wow. It's interesting. I always pictured when Elan was young that maybe he would love Pilates and get into Pilates and eventually take over BASI. That was clearly not in the cards. I accepted pretty early that that's not his direction. And I respect that so much. Elan has come into the business, and the team have accepted him, embraced him. He knows he is the lowest on the totem pole, as he often says. So he is well aware that there are others that will tell him what to do and should tell him what to do. And my greatest joy actually is not only seeing him work, but seeing how he's part of the team. Being part of a team, that's what we are. We're a team here. And seeing him part of the team, working, contributing to our efforts, brings me tremendous joy. Actually, tremendous joy. In fact, just a little story, Stella. We have two parent and child combinations working here, Elan and I, and our CFO, Kim, and her daughter, Jillian, who's our financial manager, work together and come in and sit for hours working on our finances. And I look at them and I think, how beautiful, how incredible. And Elan's working here. I know his passion is aerospace, but it's a fantastic thing. And, we share so much together in terms of recreation as well. We go out, and now you ask the things that I love doing with Elan. Elan has started surfing. The ocean for me has been always a great gift in my life, a blessing. And I always dreamed that we would catch a wave together. And just recently, we were on a wave together, right? Surfing a wave together and just feeling, there's something very symbolic about that you're riding a wave with your son. For me, it was a great gift that happened quite recently.
I mean, it's been a great opportunity, and I think it's given me a lot of skills that you might not get if you just work at, like a grocery store or a burger joint. The kind of skills I've needed to manage, the team management skills that I've gotten, and really just having a task that I don't know much about and needing to figure it a lot out on my own. Being here has allowed me to grow those skills a lot, and I think has actually helped me to a certain degree in college. And just being here, it's such a great environment, and everyone's just super welcoming, so it's great. I mean, there's a lot I admire about him. I think the biggest thing I actually admire about him is something I think a lot of people actually tend to struggle with, is he has a very strong sense of purpose in life. And I think because of that, he forms this really strong mental foundation. And with that kind of certainty in your beliefs, with that certainty in purpose, comes peace. And I think that he does a really good job of that, and being certain on his path, and just having that peace and happiness. So.
Well, I see a lot of traits of my own, and definitely my dad. I can see how it's passed through, and my mom. My mom was just such a special person. They were so different. I think of them, and I really get quite emotional because I love them so much and admire them so much. And my mom was definitely the nurturer, the empathetic, the compassionate, the family. That was, my dad saw the big picture, the world, changing the world. I see both of them in Elan. He is such a beautiful, sensitive, compassionate, empathetic human being. But I also see my dad, the sometimes stubborn, sometimes obstinate, very steadfast in certain beliefs, and very much by the book, straight line. There's only one line, and it's a straight line. Elan has told me many times when he was even young, Daddy, you got to follow the rules. On the ski slopes, on driving, you've got to follow the rules. You've got to be responsible. No, you shouldn't go off that path. And say, oh, come on, Elan, just a little bit off the path. No, we're not allowed to do that. So many times in my life, Elan said, I've got to be more responsible. So, so he's a rule follower, and that's definitely more like Adele. So I see in him much of both of us. I think probably overall, I would say he's probably a little more like Adele. Thinks things through, very systematic in how he approaches everything, and I tend to be a little more, I just go for things, a little more spontaneous, a little more impulsive.
Oh,
What are we going to do?
We're probably going to go surfing, so hopefully that'll...
We're going to go surfing.
Yeah.
I mean, what a dream. We're going to go surfing, we're going to get in the ocean. I'll spend as much of the day in the ocean as possible, but Elan and Adele always make it very special for me. And I personally want to wish all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day, such a special day. Share it with those that you love, and enjoy it. It's a blessed, blessed moment for us all.